I'm Tammy Meyer, and I'm joined with Brittany Linder. Brittany is a spiritual seeker, teacher, learner. She teaches yoga, and she does amazing readings for people either by distance or in person, as well as healing. So I, I like to consider you a person with many superpowers.
Aw, yeah. Cool.
So today we're gonna explore the power of attraction. And Brittany, maybe you can just do a little intro for us.
Yeah. Um, so today we're going to focus on the law of attraction and the way that you can start to use it for yourself and to see how you've already been using it from the beginning of your life and how powerful it can be because these laws are in place for everyone, but how powerful it can be to acknowledge how they're working and start to use them to your advantage. Um, So essentially, at the core of the law of attraction is the fact that everything is vibration, everything is energy, everything is vibrating at a specific frequency. So, us being magnetic, energetic beings, we have a magnetic field that extends beyond our body, and we are constantly emitting a vibration that exists either anywhere on the scale of frequency. So a low frequency would denote negativity. It would be the furthest away from who you actually are. So low dense vibration is negative and further away from truth. And then a high vibration, which vibrates very fast, would be closer to truth, closer to God, closer to who we actually are. And every thought that we have, every belief that we have exists somewhere on that scale. And since we're magnetic beings, we're energetic beings, we're emitting a specific frequency that exists somewhere on the scale. And through the law of attraction, events, people, circumstances, thoughts that are of the same match of what you're putting out are going to be brought back into your experience. So it can be really powerful to become aware that that's happening, whether you're conscious of it or not, and to begin to consciously choose where your focus is because you're going to create more of it.
Absolutely. And for me, I've really been feeling into my life in terms of what I'm putting out there and where people are matching me in being able to really have that connection and move projects forward. Because as we all know, we're in a very
Yeah.
challenging time. So it's really important for us to bring our gifts and our abilities and our capacities to directly to the world today, and in really specific ways with really specific
Yeah.
relationships. So maybe you can share a little bit
Right.
about where this has come from, because I know that there's a strong body of work that the law of attraction is drawn from.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so the main place that I have been reminded of all of this, because that's what learning a spiritual lesson is. You're being reminded. You never one that me and Tammy are saying it's because on some level your soul already knew that and it's just re-remembering it. So there's an author, her name is Esther Hicks, and her husband Jerry Hicks, they for years and years have been channeling. Esther channels a group of souls called Abraham, and their focus is the law of attraction, and they explain it so well. They make it super practical to implement in your life. And they have a bunch of books. There's the law of attraction, there's the vortex. I know there's more, but those are the two most prominent ones. Very helpful. And if you just want to YouTube Abraham Hicks, there's so many videos that are extremely powerful. And for those who don't know what channeling is, it's when a person makes themselves a conduit for a spirit to come through and give a message. So they essentially get themselves, they get their personality self and their ego out of the way so that a spirit can speak and deliver a message. I find their messages, they resonate insanely well with me, and they just, if I start my day listening to one of these videos, it changes the whole course of the day. So I highly recommend those books and Abraham Hicks.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So in terms of how, you were talking about some specific practices and ways that you can make that actually work in your life. Maybe dive into a little bit of that, Brittani.
Yeah. So for those who have heard about the law of attraction, I feel like the main thing that is often focused upon, which is very important, but there's more to it, is the fact that we can sit in visualization of things that we want to be true for us. So spending time sitting in meditation and conjuring up a very detailed, vivid picture in your mind of exactly how you want your life to be. And like I said about the frequencies, that is going to emit a vibration of what you want to be true out into the universe. And instantaneously, the moment that you have that vivid picture going, instantaneously that world exists on some level already. So from that point, it's just a matter of changing your beliefs, changing your neural circuitry, changing your energetics so that you begin to exist at the level that what you have imagined exists. So spending time, and what's going to really manifest it, it's not necessarily the picture in your head. It's not necessarily a thought. Thoughts are powerful, but they're tools we use. It's not the thought that's going to manifest it. What's going to manifest for you is the feelings you're emitting while you're doing this. So if you're sitting here and you're imagining the perfect life, no matter what that is, think of the most grandiose, perfect life you can think of. And if you're really believing in this visualization that it's happening in this moment and you're feeling like it's happening, it's those feelings of bliss and happiness and perfection that you're emitting out. That's what's going to bring what you're picturing to you.
So in terms of, in part though, it's also about being able to pay attention close enough to see what it is that's showing up for you as the energy coming back. So not only is it to put it out there, but it's also to receive and integrate it in your life. And
right.
So maybe we can, let's feel into what that is, because it's not going to look like the picture that we might have put out there. It's going to come back as an energetic signature that we then need to have the perception to recognize and then take action to receive.
Totally. So there's a couple things we can talk about with that. One is not being attached to this picture in your mind. Mm-hmm. Because if you think that what you want to create is a bunch of money, you can totally do that, but manifesting is more than that, because what are the reasons that you truly want to manifest the things that you want to manifest? The reasons are because you think they're going to make you happy. So spend your time visualizing and put it out into the universe. Spend time in that feeling like everything's perfect, but release attachment to that picture, because when it comes back, it might not be the exact scenario. It might not be the exact job you pictured, but what will come back is things that will bring you the feeling that you were putting out. Is that what you wanted from that? Or
yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I was just sort of following the curiosity in terms of, yes, we put it out there, but it doesn't always look like what we wanted. And there is some confusion, I think, because we put out all of these thoughts. We don't even know how many thoughts we put out there because we've got our monkey mind just churning right along all the time.
Yeah.
So for example, when we have competing beliefs, that can put out standing waves that are kind of canceling each other out, right? And
Right.
but also important that, the true desires that are informing our thoughts, what's kind of below that, we might not
Yeah.
necessarily know what that might look like coming back into our lives. So I just wanted to explore
Right.
that with you. Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. So maybe becoming very aware to start, um, of what you're experiencing right now. How do people interact with you? What is your general belief about how nice people are? What is your general belief about how abundant the universe is? What are you experiencing financially? How are your relationships with others? Everything that you're experiencing right now is a direct reflection of things you have thought and things you have been putting out into the universe previous, or beliefs that you have still currently. So you can start to look at your environment and say, okay, people have been really mean to me lately. Maybe there's something in me that I need to heal, because it's not their fault that they're being mean. I have an energetic match to people not being nice around me. So I need to heal that within myself before that's going to change. And there is a frame of time where you do kind of have to live in a dream world. You do have to kind of ignore what's happening in the present. And I find that a lot of people say, be realistic. This is what's happening. Be realistic, without acknowledging that you create what is realistic. So let's say you don't have enough money. Rather than focusing on the money you don't have, the universe, if you're focusing on the money you don't have, the universe keeps hearing, I don't have money. I don't have money. This is what I don't have. It looks at the lack because you're focusing on the lack. So to manifest more money, in the beginning, you're going to have to ignore what's actually happening, and you're going to have to make that leap of faith in your being that there is already abundance, and you have to live in that future moment of having it manifested before it comes, or it can't come. So there is going to be that frame of time where you feel like you're not really acknowledging what's really happening, but that needs to happen so that your future can be different.
As the old adage says, fake it till you make it.
Exactly. That is totally, there's so much truth in that.
Yeah.
Even if that goes for one of the things that I've utilized that phrase for was confidence. I was so shy for so many years, and I didn't want people to see that. So when I would get up in front of university class and do a presentation, I would pretend I was so confident. And people really thought I was. And then them thinking I was made me say, maybe I just am. And then it got to a point where I just was. But I was pretending. My heart was like stopping. I like couldn't breathe, but I was pretending that I was confident. And then it got to a point where I actually was. So you do have to pretend until it's real.
So, in terms of the law of attraction in your life, maybe you can share a story that really shows how that process and flow has worked for you.
Yeah. So I actually, the other day, I was looking at, I have a bunch of different journals for different purposes, and one of them is for things I want to manifest. So I write in this journal statements as if they are already true. So I have this job. I feel this way. I look this way. Whatever it is. And I sit there and I really pretend that it's already there. I picture it in my head. I feel it. And I was looking in this book the other day, and it made me so happy because I realized that everything I wrote is true for me right now. And more. I have more than what I've written. So it's so cool. And it's little things like I manifested the job that I still have. I manifested being able to afford my yoga training. I manifested getting really good grades at school. I manifested getting into UBC. Every little thing that I have written on that paper is true for me now. And the key is not focusing on, I feel like people sometimes can get caught up in, but how is that going to happen? How am I going to get good grades when that hasn't been my experience in the past? How am I going to get money when my job only pays this much? There needs to be that aspect of not needing to know the how, just focus on the end and the universe figures it out. So I didn't know how all these things would happen because I didn't really, coming out of high school, I didn't have the grades for university because I didn't try in high school, but I was like, somehow I'm going to get into UBC, and it happened. So you just need to trust that the way will be figured out. Just focus on the end result, focus on the peace and the happiness that you want to come from your life. And the universe will bring you not only what you've asked for, but so much more. My life is more beautiful than I pictured, way more beautiful. So yeah, really powerful. Writing it down, focusing on it, pretending it's happening, and then believing that it will come.
So I'd love to share a bit of a story in that train.
Yeah.
Between 2010 and 2011, at the change of the year, I had this inspiration that I needed to spend 1 minute a day feeling love for myself. And this came as an inspiration, and I knew, well, first of all, I realized that I didn't. I realized that I didn't love myself. And so I started to sort of take on this process. Now, it took me 6 months, Brittani, to figure out how to love myself.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, because I was trying to figure out how to do it, and it just didn't feel natural at all.
Right.
So I had to imagine how I loved my dad, my family, my friends, my cat, and then take that energy and turn it back on myself.
Beautiful.
And if I'm honest with myself, I only really probably did it that first year 6 to 8 times, because it was difficult and I resisted it. But by the end of that first year, my life had radically transformed.
Wow.
And so over the years, I've kind of increased doing it, and my life has just, really gone on a different track. And I now know not only how to do it, but what it feels, and feel that transformation. So for those watching, Brittani and I are in a class that Jerry DeStefano Weber puts on for spiritual and psychic development. And one of our classmates, Luna, and I were jamming on this the other day, and we kind of co-developed another riff on that. So I'd love to share that little practice because it's really revving it up. So the idea was that to be able to connect the head and the heart, and to be able to run the energy from the head to the heart and back again. Now, you and I haven't spent much time talking about the alphabet code, but in the alphabet code, the symbol for thinking is P. But P only sort of has one half of the thinking, goes from the head to the heart, and maybe it doesn't even connect. But there's this full revolution of thinking that was part of what I was trying to embody through a breathing exercise. So what we did together is we did a revolution of energy in holding love energy from our head to our heart and back up again, running one way and then the other. So running one way forward, I could see light. It was very activating. Running backward was kind of into the void, into the darkness. Wasn't scary. It was just really like that sort of reversal of the wheel, as some spiritual traditions say. So I did that for a few days, and then I realized that I was quite ungrounded, and that it actually needed to be a figure eight that also included my root chakra. So, and the other piece
Right.
that's really important is that you're anchoring it in with your breath. So you're imagining your breath going through, and now this new iteration that I'm really recommending that people do is to breathe, uh, originating in the heart, through the head, back through the heart, down through the root chakra, and back up again in a figure 8 revolution. And just do that for just a few minutes a day to be able to anchor in the heart, the head, and our base physiology, our body, and really ground that into a practice. So it's been powerful.
Beautiful. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because if you have that foundation of self-love, your whole life is going to reflect that, because your relationship with yourself is the beginning of everything. You can't fully even love someone else if you don't love yourself. So that's very powerful. That's where everything starts.
So in terms of the law of attraction and different practices that we can do to be able to really anchor in the personal work that is required to kind of develop our consciousness and to be in deeper connection with each other as our systems and world is transforming. What are some of the other pieces that you might want to offer people to consider, to deeply consider or practice?
I think you cut out for a little bit. I just didn't hear the last like 20
Oh,
seconds.
okay. Sorry. I'm just curious as to some of the practices and some of the things that you might want to encourage people to do as we're in this deeply transformative time.
Yeah, cool. I would say the most powerful and the most powerful practice for the law of attraction, and maybe just in general for your life, is focusing on gratitude and things that you are grateful for. Because if let's say there's a bunch of things you want to change about your life, it can be hard to force yourself into a place where all those things you want already exist and all the things you don't want aren't there anymore. It can be hard to force that. So especially in the beginning, and just in general every day, I think this is very powerful to do every day. But think about the things that you do have that are going really well and that you are really happy about and that you are grateful for. So even if all you can think of, if you're going through a really hard time, even if all you can think of is, I have a place to live, I have food every day, I don't go hungry, I have clean running water, I'm not in danger for my life when I walk out the door, even if it has to be as basic as that, we all have things in our life that we can be extremely grateful for. And even if you have to really look, there's going to be something. So look for those things, focus on them. Abraham Hicks actually talks about how it only takes 16 seconds of pure focus before you have manifested what you're focusing on an energetic level. 16 seconds of focus is extremely powerful. So if you take just a few minutes out of your day and list all the things that you're grateful for and really feel the gratitude for the things you're thinking of, think about the people you love and feel the love that you have for them. Thank God that they exist. Thank the universe that they're in your experience, and really sit in that feeling of gratitude. And what that does is it emits such a high frequency. Gratitude vibrates very high on this scale. So even if you're not clear on what you do want to manifest in life, and you're not clear on what your soul wants of you, you're not clear on what would make you happy, focus on this feeling of gratitude. Let that be the thing that guides your day. And before you know it, things will be brought to you that you didn't even know you wanted, but make you extremely happy. So, and maybe try having a 24-hour period where it's all you think about. You find something to be grateful for, even in things that you don't like, even in someone that you don't necessarily like, they annoy you. Find something about them that you're grateful for. Mm-hmm. And I promise you, the day after this day will be so different than any day you've had before. And I've experienced this many times before. It is so powerful. And what comes for you after this practice of gratitude is so beautiful. And there's things that will come that they're so beautiful you haven't even conjured them up in your head yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I just want to express my gratitude to you, Brittani, for being who you are, for living the life that you are, where you really are truly manifesting what you have dreamed and what your soul is really wanting to bring through you. It's an inspiration. And yes, so much gratitude for your time and your energy and who you are.
Thanks, Tammy. I'm very grateful for you too. Very grateful to have you on my path and that we're doing this together. This brings me so much joy.
Yes. Okay, well, everyone, until next time, and we'll see you then.